Well, I've been in the bar for an hour now, and you're my best mate, you are. No, I'm only kidding, but I have to say that last year at Flavour Fest, I had lots of strange drinks, cocktails. At no point did I get a pint of beer, but thankfully today I'm getting a pint of tribute with my good friend Mark here.
Hello, good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Now, you were up on the main stage this morning talking about strawberry beer, is that right?
Yeah, we've got a strawberry lager here, which is really unusual. Lager, to be honest with you. It's brewed with Boddington strawberries, so it's probably one of those beers that you if you like strawberries, you'll love it. If you don't like strawberries, you probably won't like it, because it really is very strawberry drink. So it's quite unusual.
Well, it is unusual. I've never heard of anything quite like that. Now, we're going with something a bit more traditional here. So what have I got here? Is it a pint of tribute?
This is a pint of tribute. This is our flagship brand. This is the beer that we sell most of. Probably 80% of what we brew will be tribute, and it's a very well-known beer across the southwest. Indeed, we sell it nationally across the whole of the UK. So it's a good, solid, traditional cask-conditioned beer, nice and hoppy, citrusy, orangey, grapefruit flavours you should get with tribute.
Do you grow your own hops down in Cornwall?
No, we don't grow our own hops. We use Cornish malt, but most of our hops come from, we use American hops, we use hops from Tasmania, we also use English hops as well from, we use Fuggles and Challenger hops, and those are grown primarily in sort of Herefordshire and around in Kent. So unfortunately Cornwall's not a good area for growing hops.
Oh, I was going to say that. I mean, it tends to be the east, doesn't it? But and how many different types of beer do you brew?
Oh gosh. We've generally got a seasonal beer on the go, but we've probably got about 6 different beers that we brew consistently all the time. But we're always practicing playing with different beers all the time, and our current seasonal beer is called Podium, which is, I suppose it's an Olympic-themed beer, but isn't, because we're not allowed to call it an Olympic beer. But it's a lovely beer.
And when you sit down to make a new brew, I mean, what's the starting point?
Oh, that's a good question. Sometimes it can be someone has a good idea, and often it's the head brewer that comes with a good idea. Sometimes it can be us in marketing that will say, well, actually, we'd really like to brew a beer like this, and Podium was that came from marketing. We wanted to brew a beer that was more of had an Olympic feel, but it wasn't, and I wanted a real hoppy, zingy beer, and that's what Roger, our head brewer, has created. So it can come from a number of different channels. Sometimes seasonal beers are a really good way to practice brewing beers, and often they end up as permanent beers in your portfolio. All of the beers we've got here today, with the exception of probably HSD, have all been seasonal beers at one time or other in their life, and they're so popular that we stick with them, and then we develop them as permanent beers.
Now, when you sit down to try one of your new brews, as it were, you don't just slug it back and swallow it. There's a technique, isn't there?
Yeah, there is when you taste beer. The first thing is to look and see if it's clear, because a number of beers aren't clear, and then you smell. The aroma is really important. So if you smell tribute, you should get a little bit of citrus coming off there, a bit of orangey grapefruit. Yeah, and then
it smells very fresh.
It is. It's fresh from the cask. This is served direct from the cask behind us. So it hasn't been pulled through a beer engine. So perhaps beer from the cask can be a little bit flat, maybe lacks a little bit of condition. But this is a nice beer. And when you taste beer, is it clear? Does it smell good? Are there any off flavours in there? Is it sulphur? If it smells of sulphur, then that's not what you want. But then you small taste. When you taste beer, you should get a bit of CO2 on the front of your tongue, then you get a bit of sweetness, a bit of saltiness, and as you move back towards your tongue, you then get the sour and acidic flavours that your tongue picks up. Beer's a bit different to wine in that if you're looking for bitterness, which of course beer's got a lot of bitter about it, then you need to swallow the beer. Whereas with wine, often the flavour, we don't need to swallow wine, we can taste it and roll it around our mouth. But we're looking for those sort of sour, acidity, bitter flavours towards the back of the tongue, so it means that you need to, sadly, take a big gulp.
Well, I think it would be rude not to, really, wouldn't it? Cheers.